A brotherhood forged in camaraderie and combat.
He had 10 days to go, and they made him go with us. And he got killed the first day. 10 days he would have been home.
Living every moment for themselves and for those who never made it home.
You feel like you've lived your life for your fallen brothers and friends?
I think about it often.
Remembering service and sacrifice on this edition of Let's Talk Cincy. From WLWT, this is Let's Talk Cincy, presented by Western and Southern Financial Group. Put our financial strength behind you.
General Douglas MacArthur said, "Duty, honor, country." Those three hallowed words reverently dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, and what you will be. Hello, everyone. I'm Curtis Fuller, and welcome to Let's Talk Cincy. Since 1868, Americans have paused the last Monday of May to honor and mourn U.S. military members who died while serving this country. For 18 years, Greater Cincinnati veterans have paid their respects by flying to Washington, D.C. Honor Flight Tri-State takes veterans from World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War to visit their memorials. WLWT News 5 anchor Mike Dardis and photojournalist and Marine veteran John Massey went along on a recent honor flight.
Well, we've got Howard Pegg, Sergeant.
A trip to honor those who never made it home.
He had 10 days to go, and they made him go with us. And he got killed the first day. 10 days he would have been home.
A journey wrought with reflection. For 16 hours, time stands still as 85 veterans, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, take a breath for those who can't. You feel like you've lived your life for your fallen brothers and friends?
I think about it often.
And I wish they were back with me, but can't be, so I'll just have to enjoy it for all of us.
Basically, the time to kind of get those feelings out. I've got a few friends on the wall.
But Honor Flight is also about ceremony, song, and celebration. A day away from life's daily grind. For some, family time with a son or daughter.
Well, I think it's a real treat. Unexpected, and I didn't even know I was going to try to do this, but then I put in for it, and because I'm 81, you get chosen pretty quickly.
It's overwhelming. It really is very special. Very different than my reception when I got home from Vietnam.
From the waters of the Navy Memorial.
And I thank everybody that's responsible for all this today.
To the sands of Iwo Jima.
It was dedicated on November 10th. All the Marines know what November 10th is.
For first-timers, so much is unknown until you see the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown at Arlington National Cemetery. The emotion of the memorials and the Wall of Remembrance.
I was in Korea, and I took another year, so I was there 18 months. And when he went, he didn't come home.
Then back to Cincinnati for the welcome home many veterans never got the first time. Yes, Honor Flight has been honoring our veterans for 18 years, and these trips will continue to allow the sun to shine on our heroes.
So, Mike, this was your first honor flight. Tell me a little bit about it.
You know, it's interesting because I've been to Washington, D.C. many a time. My dad's a veteran. He's buried in Arlington National, died in 2006. But this was a different perspective. Going with a group of veterans, 75 from the area, seeing the meaning in their eyes, the emotion when they got to the walls of remembrance, it was definitely something that I'll never forget. You have these hubs for Honor Flight, more than 100 all across America. And we should be honored, no pun intended, because there are other cities who look to Cincinnati to train. Cheryl and Tom have done such a great job here with the way they do things and how organized they are. It's not an easy thing, I mean, all of this is volunteer, and you're generating money from the outside from folks who are donating, and you have to get the lunches ready, you have to get those buses ready, and it's orchestrated in a way that you have to hit Arlington at a certain time, Iwo Jima at a certain time, the Navy Memorial at a certain time, and it went like clockwork. But you have Pittsburgh and different cities, St. Louis, West Palm Beach, Florida, different cities all across America who will send a representative or two to go on an honor flight from Cincinnati just to see how they do it, to talk with Cheryl and Tom and kind of get the lay of the land before they try to maybe improve things and tweak things on their own.
Yeah. John Massey, the photographer who went with you, he's a Marine. Mm-hmm. You talked about your dad. So it was very personal, I would imagine, throughout the course of this day.
Curtis, I think we all can agree that sometimes we have those blinders on and we don't think about all of the other things that are going on. And sometimes if you just have a moment to reflect on how we got here, why we're speaking English, how we're able to live free in America. And I know people are saying, oh, that's corny. No, it's not. If World War II had gone the other way, this would be a different world. I just try to imagine as a dad what it would have been like to have teenagers who got sent off to war. And I think about what about, you know, the possibility of never having your child come back home. And that happened. It happened to thousands and thousands. 410,000 people died in World War II alone. 58,000 died in Vietnam. I mean, these are, you fill stadiums with 58,000 people. And I just, as a dad, I can't even imagine sending a teenager off to war and them never coming back home. And then hearing some of the stories from my father, and a lot of these folks who were on the honor flight were like my dad, where early on when they got back from the war, they suppressed all of their emotions and their feelings. They didn't talk about it. They didn't talk to anybody. The generation before us, now we're all about sharing and talking about problems. They didn't do that. So what I saw was, you know, with my father later in his life, he talked quite a bit to me about his experiences. And then it was so personal to me because when I was on this honor flight, being around some of these men, and there were a few women too, and hearing them talk about their experiences, it's something they didn't do 20 and 30 years ago, and now they're doing it now. And it was just a great experience to see that through other people's eyes.
Final question.
Yeah.
You'll go back, you think?
I think I will. We have a busy job, and we have a lot of other things. We have a lot of other tentacles that are far-reaching when it comes to community service and charities that we're involved in. It may be when I'm retired from television, and who knows when that'll be. Maybe it'll be on a vacation sometime, but I think I would call Cheryl up and say, hey, you know, I'll volunteer to be a chaperone sometime on honor flight. Maybe when there's not a deadline where we have to turn a story for the news, I'll go back and do it on my own time, yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a moment.
Just ahead on Let's Talk Cincy, we rejoin our veterans in Washington, D.C. We'll hear why it's an impactful trip for the volunteers as well as the veterans.
Welcome back, everyone. The saying freedom isn't free is often used to talk about sacrifice during times of war. It is also an expression of gratitude given to our service members for defending our freedom. We want to share another story from WLWT News 5 anchor Mike Dardis' trip he took with some Greater Cincinnati veterans to Washington, D.C.
Here outside the FDR Memorial, kind of a stopping off place to get our breath and talk to some of these veterans along the way. We got Robert McGee. Where are you from in Greater Cincinnati?
Union Township, Claremont County.
When did you serve?
From 1956 to 1962, United States Navy.
And what do you think about today? How special has it been?
It's been beautiful. Had a beautiful day and fine people to be around and seen some great memorials. And the Tomb of Unknown Soldiers was just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, you have a day, okay?
Oh,
go down, talk to your buddy down here. Who we have here? Lewis?
Lou.
Where are you from, Lou?
I'm Spring Grove Village, Cincinnati.
When did you serve?
66, 68, Korea.
Has this lived up to the billing today?
It's, yep.
That's awesome. All
right, well, have a great day. Nice seeing you. Thank you for your service, okay?
Okay.
Then we have two special people, speaking of service. We've got Cheryl and we've got Tom Pop. These are volunteers. They've been involved honor flight since 2005. How many flights have you taken?
This is my 82nd flight.
Hubby, how many for you?
82nd.
Why do you guys keep doing this?
Love of our country and love of the veterans. We don't think they're getting enough credit, and we want to be grateful always for this country we live in, and this is the way we're doing it now.
What's the most special thing about these honor flights?
Meeting these veterans. Just
Yeah.
meeting and talking to them, hearing their stories. Their
Yeah.
stories are fantastic.
Cheryl, if people want to get involved and they want to see this, they've been watching on social media and on the news, can people get involved and be a part of this?
Absolutely they can. Just go to our website, honorflighttristate.org, and go onto the form section and fill out either a veteran or a guardian form, and we'll get to you right away.
You can be a guardian and come on one of these flights. All right, there you go. You're 82 times each. How about that? Pretty good. Mike Dardis here at the FDR Memorial in Washington.
Still ahead, we'll hear more from the organizers of the Honor Flight Tri-State. You'll hear how trips began and the need for more volunteers. Let's Talk Cincy. We'll be right back.
With me now, Tom and Cheryl Pop, the organizers of this amazing honor flight here in Greater Cincinnati. And first of all, welcome to our program.
Thank you.
Tell me about the genesis of the honor flight here in Greater Cincinnati.
Well, Honor Flight itself, the network, began in 2004 when the World War II Memorial was built. All of the veterans were in their 60s and 70s by then and couldn't get there. So Earl Morris, who was a physician's assistant up at the VA in Chillicothe, he would ask his patients, why aren't you going? It's so neat and everything. You waited so long. And they said, I can't go. I can't afford it. I don't travel alone. My wife is sick. Whatever their reasons were in their 70s and 80s. So he decided he'd take them. So he was going to take them in a small plane. Well, in fact, he did with his flying club out of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Very quickly, this is not going to go. This is not going to make it. They couldn't get in and out of the planes. It was, the weather and everything. So he went commercial in 2005 and decided he was going to raise money to take them. And AirTran had a senior flight that went from Dayton to Washington, and he'd pile them on there and just go. So we were up there. We did 6 flights out of Dayton, the two of us. But when we saw what it was like, we were in the Cincinnati Warbirds group, and we knew a lot of veterans, and they were all heartbroken they couldn't make it up there. So they started a hub at Cincinnati, and we were in on that beginning of that hub.
Over and over, every flight, you see that emotion in the vets and their families.
It's really neat when they come back from the flight. At some point, they think it's over. They want to go home and hug their pillow, go to bed. And all of a sudden, it's a parade. And they're in the middle of the parade. And then they see their family members, four generations maybe. And they just kind of melt into the crowd and bond with their family. It's an amazing thing. But it's the homecoming they didn't get back in the day. So it's quite emotional.
One thing, you need volunteers to help make this happen. Talk about that need, how someone could volunteer.
Well, our volunteers are called guardians. It's like guardian angel because the vets say, well, I don't need anybody to go with me. They're all big and bad. But it's really just a companion for the day, because a lot of them have not been out of their little circle of their life for a long time. Rest home or just their friends. And this is a big thing. This is an 18-hour day. Everything's different. You're eating out of a box. You're riding a plane, a bus. Some of them haven't ever been on airplanes before. So it's just to have your own buddy, if you will, and then the guardians pay their own way. So that's where we always need guardians. So some of them, a lot of people go with their family members now, but we need appointed guardians. We have just patriots from all over the city that just want to go with a vet. Their dad's passed, or their uncle was in Korea, and they want to pay homage to them, and that's where we get our guardians. We can always use more.
Just remind people how many honor flights you do, how often you do it.
Well, we do 4 a year from Cincinnati, or we've done 5, we've done 6, but basically 4. Cheryl and I have each been on 82 flights.
What motivated you to say, this is going to be our mission now?
I worked at the Blue Ash Air Show for years. I love coordinating things and logistics and when it all comes together. He was the air boss and the safety director at the air show for years. And you know, we had seen so many veterans come into the Cincinnati Warbirds group that I knew how they felt. I looked at them and I saw my dad's face. You know, when he would say something to me all gruff or, you know, I'm depending on you. And I looked down and I saw that. And I thought, my dad's gone, but they can all be my dad for a day. And I really want them to be able to feel it, to understand the patriotism. That's when we were talking about the little girls and everybody that's on the flights. Patriotism, we need to pass that down. And everywhere we look, it's being, you know, abused somewhere. And we just feel like if we walk right through the middle of the crowd with our vets and our flags, that's patriotism.
Well, thank you for everything that you do. It is my honor to finally meet you guys, because like I said, I've been watching the story of the honor flights for so many years. And because we were so touched here at Channel 5, let me be the first to tell you that on behalf of WLWT and our president and general manager, we will be writing you a check for $5,000.
Oh my gosh.
To help with the ongoing effort.
Thank you so much.
Well,
wonderful.
Thank you again for everything.
The veterans appreciate it.
The veterans.
Because it all goes to them.
Yeah.
We'll be back in a moment.
Taking honoring our veterans to new heights. How the story of two local veterans inspired the idea for a military aviation museum to take flight. Let's Talk Cincy. We'll be right back.
We want to hear from you. Email us your ideas. The address is ltc@wlwt.com. And remember, you can always watch full episodes or get more information on wlwt.com/Let's Talk Cincy. I also want you to check us out on our very local app. Finally, you can also listen to Let's Talk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Hillcrest Cemetery in Anderson Township was founded back in 1926 and is the burial place for many of Cincinnati's black military veterans. Recently, volunteers from WLWT got a chance to get their hands dirty and preserve history. Our Chris Jacobs was there.
Built in 1926 and completed in 1929, the Hillcrest Cemetery in Anderson Township hasn't seen the best of care over the years, but a coalition founded in 2000 basically started clearing the brush and clearing the way for a new vision. Hillcrest is one of 3 segregated cemeteries for veterans in the Cincinnati area and the largest in Anderson Township at 14 acres. And the time frame is as vast as the graves themselves. Almost 1,200 known graves of veterans span from the Civil War to Vietnam. I, along with others from WLWT, was part of a volunteer team at the historic site, helping with some cleanup efforts. Everyone involved knows this is about honoring those who left a legacy still being felt today.
I think just, you know, honoring our veterans from the past and the ones that are serving now. I think it says something to everybody that, you know, your service isn't going to be forgotten, and that's important.
Colonel Todd Mayer says the restoration of this entire cemetery is still a big project, but the main focus right now is Memorial Day weekend.
It is time to take flight now into military aviation history. The Tri-State Warbird Museum in Batavia was founded in 2003. Its mission is to preserve historic planes from World War II while honoring all veterans. We recently spent some time with the museum president, David O'Malley.
It's a 501c3 nonprofit aviation history museum, military history museum. We focus primarily on World War II, and the goal of, or the mission of the museum has 3 words: preserve, honor, and educate. Preserve the aircraft and bring them to life, honor the veterans that built and flew them, and educate members of the younger generations about the sacrifices of the greatest generation. And we pride ourselves on the fact that all of our airplanes are living, breathing, flying airplanes. So we have every type of airplane basically that flew in World War II, from a trainer up to a medium bomber. And we're a flying museum, and so we have a full-time staff that works to preserve them, both in maintenance and restoration roles. We have 4 airplanes that we've restored in-house to flying condition, and 1 more on the way. Honoring our veterans is one of our primary goals, and the museum was founded with the goal of giving their stories a place to live on continuously. We're at a point where we are unfortunately losing the last of our World War II veterans every single day. And so at some point, the last World War II veteran is going to be gone. And there needs to be a place for those stories to live on for everyone to learn from. You're probably familiar with the names Herb Heilbrunn and John Lair.
Not far from this Burnett Avenue post office, 2 kids who didn't know each other grew up and later piloted aircraft in World War II. John Lair with the Tuskegee Airmen, Herbert Heilbrunn in a B-17 bomber. More than a half-century after the war, they met and learned they not only flew on some of the same dangerous missions, but were from the same neighborhood and went to the same North Avondale Elementary School. Here they are in a 3rd grade class photo, Heilbrunn behind and to the right of Lair, shoulder to shoulder as schoolboys in a segregated city, in the skies over Europe in a racially divided military.
Their stories live on in those airplanes, but their stories also live on in all the walls of this museum, because it was their story that they told to my father that led to the creation of the museum in the first place. So the 3rd tenet of our mission is to educate. And I touched on it a little bit before, but we wanted those stories that we could learn from all of our veterans and the entire greatest generation of World War II. We wanted to be able to teach kids those lessons directly with those stories. And in today's society, I think those lessons are really important, and there's all kinds of different ways that we activate those stories in the minds of kids.
Well, what a great story, huh? The Tri-State Warbird Museum is located at 4021 Borman Drive. That is in Batavia. You can call 513-735-4500 for more information. Well, that does it for the program today. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you next time for another edition of Let's Talk Cincy.